What's up guys, and welcome back to a Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon video. And in this video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be covering and analysing the new Alola Region map, because of course it's changed in the new games, as you would hope it would, at least have some changes. So we're going to compare it to the old map and see what's been added, what's been removed, and stuff like that. Sort of theorise about what we might put in those places or what those places might mean. So here is the old Alola map, as you can see, and if we then slowly fade into the new one, you can see it's pretty much the same. The one main thing that will jump out at you straight away for this map here is the colouring is vastly different. So a lot of the areas don't necessarily match up pixel for pixel, clearly, because the colouring is different. So a lot of buildings will seem like they change colour, however we can't tell for sure until we see it in game because of the lighting. So here is the main thing, and we're going to go island by island, as you might expect, to analyse each of them in turn. So we'll start off with Melee because clearly that's Melee. So again, a slow fade from previous into new, and you can see there are a few changes here. Of course, there is a big void at the bottom left, which obviously we'll look at later on, but there are still a few other subtle changes. The first of these is towards the top left hand side here. You can see there is this beach. Now this is just north of the main city of Melee Island, and you can see near this motel, so you can assume maybe behind the motel there is a short way to get down. And you can see, really it's just a beach. It's got two huts on it of some sort. What those huts could be, we don't know. Maybe just beach huts. Nothing too simple there. And it's just going to be a beach, I would assume, where you can battle some trainers maybe. And nothing too much extra, maybe some fishing spots, stuff like that. And one extra thing is there's a rock there too. So the rock could do something. It could be event related. It could be a case of it hides an entrance to a cave. I'm hoping there, I'm spitballing, but there's another possibility there that the rock is there for, or it could just be for decoration. So it doesn't seem like this is a sea route, so probably won't be able to surf on this water because there are no rocks surrounding it, as we usually see with sea routes. So unfortunately that's not the case, but still an extra beach there is not too bad. If we then take a look into the city here, and again I'll show you the previous version of the city in the original games, you can see it's fairly simple there, fairly bright and colourful, and we then fade into Ultra Sun and Moon's city, and you can see there are a few changes. So the top left building, which was the building for like just some shops and stuff, has just had a small redesign. The buildings next to it as well, small updates to them, nothing too special there. The main addition is further down. In what was previously the empty plot land, we now have a new building, and this building would seem to be the stuff we discussed in the previous episode, the Alola Photo Studio, or whatever it was called, which I'm not too excited for. But that's what that seems to be, so you can go and you can do photo stuff in there, and that's just what fills up that spot. The police station next to it has had a small update, but nothing special, so I wouldn't again expect anything from that. So just a few graphical updates to the city here. And of course that new building. Then we have another beach to look at, which is towards the top of the island up here, and you can see, if we look at it in the original games, you can see there's a fairly open area with a sort of like crescent moon of land, of sand there rather, and then we slowly fade in, and you can see that crescent moon has gone quite a bit bigger. So basically an extra beach there. It was there already, it's just more stuff to do. I think in Sun and Moon there was like an item on it, and that was basically it. So here you might see a few trainers on it, or it might serve some other purpose, but that's just a small update there. And apart from that, there's really no extra sort of additions or takeaways from this island. It's basically the same as it was before. Majority of the houses, even the original town, Iki Town, is the same, no changes there at all. Your house is all the same, Professor Kukui's lab's all the same, so really there's not much extra stuff there, just an extra beach or two and that extra building. So if we then work our way around to Akala Island, a lot more to look at here because it's a much bigger island, so again we'll go city by city. The first city we see here is of course the one we land in, so in the original games you can see here, fairly standard, there was an open plot as we're aware, which is there, and if we fade into the new one you can see, of course, that plot has now been filled by a new building. We'll go over the other ones in turn. So in terms of starting from the dock, there's nothing too much extra there at all. One top left thing there though is there is a new beach here as well, and you can see the route down onto it is next to the dock, to the boathouse, I suppose you should call it. And there's one extra thing on this beach here. You can see there's an extra sort of tent, and there is a sign next to it, and that all seems to be like a green aura or green area behind that sign. Don't know what that is. It might be a new mini game, a new sort of thing like that, or a new building, just someone living on the beach, who knows. That's one small addition there. Apart from that, there's nothing huge in this city apart from this new building, as I've mentioned. So it's next to the Pokemon Center. Can't really tell anything about it from where we are. It just seems to be a normal building, so maybe there'll be something special to it, maybe there won't. We won't know really until we get further into it and actually get some eyes on the game. But moving further along, sort of the city promenade, the buildings have had small updates, nothing amazing though. And then the building here, which is Professor Burnett's lab, if you remember, she studies the Ultra Beasts. You can see it's gotten like an extra bit on the top, or it could be a redesign of course, an extra bit or an extra redesign. And there's also something in the parking lot next to it, and this looks to be like a satellite dish, so whether that's in the actual games for Sun Moon or not, I can't remember. It might have been in the car park anyway, and now it's just been added to the map here, but it might just be like an update to her laboratory. So that's the first city there. We're then going to move north. The ranch and the town has basically no changes to it at all, same as before. And then we look just north at the water area. So this is, I can't remember the name of it now, Brooklet Hill, that's the one. So what I did point out in my original video covering the trailer and the map is that it looked like the water had gone, but you can see with a zoom in here, the water is not gone. It's just, as I mentioned earlier, the lighting is very different. So while the water is still there, you can see other places on the island, the water is still there as well, obviously, if it's lost all the water on the island, and it is grey there, so you just can't really see it here. So it is still there. It is still Brooklet Hill. I just thought I'd mention that because obviously I did say in the last video it looked like all the water had gone, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So it is still there, and there's no huge change there. Then if we move back on towards the Battle Royale, there is a small change in the second city here. Only one extra building, and that is the same plot area we saw. So previously there was just a Malasada shop on the right hand side of the city there, and if we then fade into the new one, we can see there's another new building there. Now this doesn't share a design to any building we've seen before, so it doesn't look like these building plots are sort of a series of buildings they've added in, although it could be something different, who knows. This one has obviously red and grey stripes, so maybe this is the building we saw in the trailer where there is a Lieutenant Surge-like gym, because that looked like a very electric, or not electric, but a very industrial place, whereas this could be similar there. That's one idea, but a new building there is what we have. Then moving north and looking around the top of the island, there's nothing changed up there at all. There is still just, your classic sort of hotel at the top left, and really you can't see anything along the back of the island anyway, so not much to talk about there. I was about to say one thing might be a beach. Extra beach towards the top right, but it looks like that's just the water shining off the water again. The lights shining off the water. But then if we move down towards the south of the island again, one thing I did pick up is this little forest. So joining this towards the golf course, there is a small forest or small sort of turning, and there is like a trees there. So in the original games, this is what you can see on that turning, and then on the map for these games, you can see there is a slight difference. So it's like a black shadow. Now, this isn't huge, it might just be the lighting again or the shading, but it is a very stark change, I feel. It's gone from like being just all green, all the same sort of colour, to having a very stark shadow on it, looking like there's an entrance there, and this technically is used in other parts of the map as well. And this might be an entrance to this we see here. So this is the image from the trailer as well, looking like a forested area with trees, and it looks to be inside some dense forestry. And this might be the entrance to that there, because obviously, apart from this, I haven't found any other area where it could be. Of course, we haven't seen the whole island. There are, towards the top of the island, there could be an entrance there, but this is what I've seen here, so it's one possibility I feel. Let me know down below in the comment section whether you agree with me there, or if you think it's just some lighting. We'll then move on. Unfortunately, the golf course has no changes at all. There doesn't seem to be like an extra path leading up to it that wasn't there already. It's just all the same, so unless it's a very subtle change, it doesn't appear on the map, basically. So we'll have to move down to the last island, the bottom island here rather, which is the third one. There's not too much of a change here. The only changes really are towards the top of this town, and you can see that again this empty spot, if we have a look at the previous version, if we have fade into the new one, the empty spot has been filled with another new sort of building, and this is the same sort of building as is on the original Melee Island. It looks to be the same, so another Alola Photo Club, possibly. And one thing I did notice when looking at this one is that it looks very much like a Rotom Dex. You can see the shape of the entrance basically as a Rotom Dex there. I just thought I'd point that out, so obviously it's linking into the Photo Club and Rotom being able to take photos and whatnot, so just a little tidbit I thought I'd bring up there. So that is Alola Island. There's nothing too huge there, a couple new buildings, one new beach, but apart from that, unless there's something towards the top of the island, we can't really see it. So then moving on to briefly, Aether Foundation, just having a quick look, so you can see, if we just do a quick fade, there is basically no change to Aether Foundation that we can see. There might be some change inside, but apart from that, basically no change, so it's exactly the same as it was before. Just thought I'd mention that. And then move on to Ula'ula Island. So this is a huge island, of course, and there are a few changes to look at here. So looking at the first city we enter into Ula'ula, the only change here really is this new building, as we see with some of them. So we have this new building here. Again, it doesn't match any of the designs we've had previously, so it looks to be on its own. It's got an orange roof, so it's obviously some form of special building. We don't know exactly what it is. One idea, of course, we threw around beforehand would be that they'd be filled in with gyms. However, 2 of the spots we've seen so far have been filled in with the Alola Photo Club, and that sort of wipes out the gyms idea really, because that means we don't have like 6 spaces maximum, and you can't have 6 gyms, I suppose. So maybe it wipes out that idea, unfortunately, unless they put gyms somewhere else, but we'll have to see when eventually the games come out. Doesn't look like a gym to me really anyway. It looks just like a normal building with maybe something special going on, who knows. But apart from that, there's not really any big changes in this town, it's just that new building. Moving south then, we can see there is a beach down here in the original games and in Ultra Sun and Moon. It looks like that beach is getting, again, some beach huts on it. So whether this will be sort of a recurring building that you can go in and have some battles, maybe, you know, recurring battles, something like that, I don't know, just an idea I'm throwing out there, but it seems to be a similar sort of thing going on. On each beach we have some sort of tent, you can do something inside, or maybe it's a shop, who knows, something like that. Moving then further down, unfortunately you can see, if I just show you the full map, there are these 2 empty spots you see towards the south of the map, one in Tapu Village and then one on the route. There doesn't seem to have any building there at all. Whether that's because they didn't want to include and give away too many things with this map, possibly, or whether there's nothing there in the games at all anyway, we'll have to see when the games come out. One thing to note as we'll head up to the Pokemon League now is, well, I'll talk about it when we get there. There is one change next to the desert and also Victory Road, is that here is the Victory Road previously, and then if we fade in, you can see there is a new sort of platform, I suppose. I'm not sure whether this is in the desert or part of Victory Road. My money would be on Victory Road because it looks like there's a door you see towards the bottom of that image, so my money would be on Victory Road, just an extra area for it. But it could also be the desert, but probably not. It looks to be attached to the mountain, so just extended Victory Road probably, which is something they needed to do. So there is that there. And then finally looking at the Pokemon League, so if we look right at the top, this is what the Pokemon League looked like originally on the original map, and then here we are, fade it in, you can see in these games, the door for the Pokemon League is already there, so the League is in the same place, and the door is shown us on the map. So what this means is, when we have the original map, when you start Sun and Moon, the Pokemon League is technically not built yet, it's still in building, so that's only built and finished when you finish your journey, hence why it doesn't appear on the map at the start. Whereas here on this map it appears, which might indicate that the building of Pokemon League has already finished when your adventure starts, which may mean that, you know, something's changed, there's already a new champion, there's already a champion existing who you have to defeat, stuff like that. And that brings me back down to the 2 empty spots. Even if there isn't anything there on this map right now, if it's removed just to hide features, or it could be the fact that they're built during the game, I don't know. Again, it's just a spitball idea, but again, there's nothing there, so unfortunately, nothing to talk about there. Moving just further north, slightly out towards Potown, you can see the Zygarde building is still there, which would indicate to me that Zygarde cells and cores can again be collected in the games, and Senior Dexia will give you the Zygarde cube and whatnot, and that will still be there, so you'll still be able to do Zygarde mini quest, I suppose, side quest. We just hope that they improve that a bit so you can actually locate cells and whatnot. But apart from that, there are no other changes on the island, so there's no changes to Potown, there's no changes to the Ultra of the Sun or the Moon, or the Lake of the Sun or the Moon, and there's no changes to the observatory and the power plant or anything like that. All the same there. So we then move over to the last island, of course, Coney Island, which is a bit ominous because, of course, we have this dark cloud, over the island we can't see currently, but it is there. So one thing to start off with, Executor Island is towards the bottom left. I've cut it off, I've not included it because there are no changes on it, no visible changes at least, so that seems to be the same as always. The floating town is, again, no change. There is no building in this empty spot. Again, whether that means it's built during the game or it's hidden to not give away some stuff, we don't know until we get there, so it's one possibility. But then we move over onto the shore and this beach towards the bottom left. So in the original games, there was this lovely beach and this lovely area where you could surf. Now in these games, there are no rocks anymore, which indicates you cannot surf in this area. So there'll be a beach, and there might be some NPCs in the beach, but you won't be able to surf from the beach into the water. There was really nothing there, so it's not like we're losing much, but it's still a water route, I guess you could say, that's lost, unfortunately. So that's that beach gone. But if we then swing over past the house, I can't remember the girl's name whose house it is, but we move over towards where Tapu Fini resides in this area, but we've been added. So we can see these rocks here in the original game. We then fade over to the new one. We can see there are now rocks around it, indicating that you can surf along this area. So they've taken the rocks from one place, put them in another, so that the water route is basically moved. So it looks like there'll just be an extra water route. You can maybe catch some more Pokemon and battle some more trainers on there, but nothing extra special. Apart from that, the only real change to the island is, of course, the big void over the top of it. There's no change to the Ultra, the Sun, and the Moon, you can tell. There's no change to the whole Pony Canyon. There's no change to the Battle Tree. All seems to be the same, although most of it is under a huge shadow, so you can't really tell. But there is, yes, this void, which likely is a link to Ultra Space, because that's the whole thing, Ultra Beast, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So it looks like Ultra Space is leaking into this dimension, which is not necessarily a good thing. So maybe the whole quest will be to close this portal, this void, to stop the Ultra Beasts and the whole of Ultra Space infecting it, because you can see there's a sort of grabbiness. It was all like hands and arms are coming out of this portal to try and grab our dimension and pull it in. So not the best thing, so maybe that'll be the main plot, using the Crozma to do that. If we, before we wrap up the video, just zoom out to the main map and have a look at the main map as a whole and pick out a few things to talk about here, because there may well be a few things to talk about here. So the first one is, of course, this big cloud at the bottom. So if I compare it to the original map again, you can see in the original map there is not this huge cloud at the bottom. Okay, now this might just mean that the clouds have moved around. Clouds move, they do that. However, you can see in the original map as well that the Poképelago area at the top right was half covered via a cloud, sort of hidden away as like an Easter egg you had to find yourself rather than being shown to us on the map. And they have done this in the past with, I think, Black 2 and White 2, hidden new areas under clouds, at least on the original map that they actually reveal. So it might indicate there is a new island of some sort under this huge cloud area at the bottom. Maybe not. We'll have to see eventually if they come out with anything. I'm sort of 50-50 on it. I'm not expecting a new island, but they might give us something. It might be a post-game area, that sort of thing there. All the clouds could also be a link back to Oras, where we could soar around and catch loads of legendary Pokemon, so it could be a hint at that as well, and have that ability be in there, but I'm not overly confident on that. But there is that huge cloud there. And the other thing to mention is, towards the top of the image, you can see on the crest of the horizon, the sun is setting. It is dusk, so maybe dusk will play a bigger role in the games, because of course Sun and Moon focused on day and night mostly. We have Lycanroc Dusk already, so maybe dusk will play a bit more of a sort of a theme. And you can see that the majority of the Alola region is in dusk because the sun is setting, so you can see this orange coloured all the way over the islands. However, if you then move over towards Pony Island, you can see Pony Island is covered under a black covering of this voidy area from Ultra Space. So, but then you look at the south of the island as well as Executor Island, and that looks like it's a normal day. There's nothing too shadowy covering it. So one idea is that the whole of the island is in dusk, apart from Pony Island, which is stuck in some sort of perpetual day and night cycle. Who knows? Just one idea I'm throwing out there from the colourings on the map, but it's nothing huge at all. But that's really it. There are a few other changes to the map, obviously just small cosmetic changes like Wailords swimming around, some more Pokemon swimming around, the ships just slightly updated just to look a bit nicer, but apart from that, really nothing there to talk about, apart from what we say in the video, of course. So let me know down below in the comment section, is there anything I've picked out in the video you think might be a really sort of cool thing, like the beach huts? Do you think that's some form of battle area, or just a shop or something like that? Let me know your ideas on that. Let me know what you think this void is above Pony Island. Do you think it's like Ultra Space seeping through, or is it the Dimension World, the Distortion World, another dimension, you get what I mean, seeping through, a nice throwback to Generation 4. Let me know down below in the comment section, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today, so I shall be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching, goodbye my friends.